I'll go at doctor. He's fine.
You call the doctor and he said he's fine?
Yeah.
I love you.
Please.
Oh, no, baby. So, today would have been 7 weeks pregnant and I started bleeding and I didn't think much of it. I was just like, okay, I'm miscarrying. I'm like, okay, that's fine. So I called my OB because, I mean, this has never happened to me before. This is like something that's just like, okay, like, I don't know what would happen in a situation like this.
Mommy.
Yeah.
You made me sad.
I know, baby. It makes me very sad too.
You made me sad.
It's okay. At the ER, waiting for my results. At this point, I think it's just gonna be bad news, but we'll see. They've taken my blood work, my urine sample, and ultrasound. So, waiting to see. In the hospital, HCG levels 2000. Jeffrey's here. He's coming. Okay. Happening. Oh, finding the entrance is hard. Don't think that's it. Or is it? Checked in. I'm ready to go. And I'm just waiting, so. In the feels. I think I'm gonna be in the feels for the rest of the month. Oh my gosh. It's okay. I'm alright. And I'm fine. It's okay. Okay. Before I start this video, I would like to say that, disclaimer, I am not a medical professional. I'm not giving you advice on what to do. And I'm not giving you this advice for you to make like a decision based on what I've experienced. You take care of your body, call your healthcare provider, figure that out with them, and that's it. My video is basically just to share my experience of what I have experienced. And if I sound stuffy, that's just because I've been crying like for a while now, and I'm just trying to make the best out of everything that's happening to me and everything that I guess like I've been like encountering. And I'll start from like I guess the beginning, you know, there's nothing else to say or do. And also Sebastian's coming in here right now. I love you too.
What do you do?
Oh, you forgot your drink?
Yeah.
Okay, don't drop it, okay? He's probably gonna drop it, but that's okay. Alright, so, as you guys can know, I did release all of the videos, for my pregnancy. And here's the reason why I decided to release every single one of them. Because, and the weekly updates. If I were to just release this video right here and share my experience of an ectopic pregnancy, I don't even know if that's how you say it. I think that's how you say it. I don't know. If so, I'm not sure. You know what it is though. If I were to just share it, would it even feel real, or would it even feel like it actually happened? Here's my thing. I looked and looked and looked. There's like vague videos on, I guess, describing people's experience and what they've dealt with and how they've seen it. And it's like, why is no one talking about this? Like, everyone's talking about their pregnancy, everyone's talking about their miscarriages, everyone's talking about like everything that they've encountered. There's nothing out there barely on ectopic pregnancies, or what people decided to do, or like how they even handled themselves emotionally to like endure this process. And like, in advance, this is gonna be like a long video, so I'm so sorry, but I can't help it. I just love to talk, and I've just experienced so much that I feel like talking makes me feel better. And you don't have to watch this video. I'm literally talking to myself so that I can watch it later in the future. So starting at the beginning, normal, everything seemed normal. Like, it seemed like a normal pregnancy. I had my scheduled appointment for an ultrasound last week on Thursday, and it was supposed to be all normal, nothing drastic like you guys saw if you have not seen all those videos of how I found out I was pregnant, how I was feeling every single week. I will leave them linked, like the entire playlist. Like, it's gonna be a playlist because I want this to feel to you guys as real as it felt to me, because like I'm so hurt emotionally that this happened to me, and I feel like I want to be there for someone that this happens to. Like, if this happens to you, I'm there for you, and I know exactly what you're feeling. And this is something that, like everyone that has something happen to them, you don't know how it feels unless you've been through that experience. And since I've been through that experience, trust me, I know what you're going through, and I know how torn you feel and upset at yourself. But do not be upset at yourself. This is not something that you need to be upset at yourself about. Just, you need to get through this, and you will get through this. So have confidence in yourself and know that you are strong. If God gave you this to overcome, it's because you are strong enough to overcome it. So overcome it like the strong woman that you are, because that is what's happening. Okay, so I was supposed to be 7 weeks pregnant when I went to my ultrasound on Thursday last week. Well, Monday, and I was supposed to have that whole week off of work and not go to work because of I just had the week off. Monday, I get up and everything is normal. I do all my daily activities with Sebastian. We were in his room playing like we always do, and we always do like the daily activities where we just go in his room and we play with all his little toys, and we're all ready. At 9:50, I think he was already ready. I had already got him dressed and ready to go to the grocery store because I was going to go grocery shopping on Monday for the groceries for the week. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna go to the restroom before we go. So then I go to the restroom, and then everything's normal. And then when I wipe, then I see that I have spotting. And I didn't think much of it. And I was like, okay. And I did know that the day before, that Sunday, I had, like, I could tell that there was like a speck of like something that looked like a little bit discolored, like in my pee almost. Kind of like, you know how sometimes your pee is discolored if you have like a UTI or something? But it was like, I didn't even see that. It was just like, you know, sometimes you get up and there's like, I don't know, TMI, a little bit of pee on the toilet, like siege, and you're just like, oh crap, okay, I might have gotten up too soon. And I saw that it wasn't like yellow or the normal, like, you know, pale yellow color that it usually is. And I was like, well, that's strange, like, why is it that color? And so I wiped, and, you know, I was just like, oh, okay, it's just like, you know, whatnot. It's just like regular spotting that may happen. And that Sunday, I had pain. Like, I'm going to show you just so that you know for just purposes. So my pain would be here on my left side. Like, it was just here, but it wasn't drastic, nothing unmanageable. And then I had something on this side of my back. Nothing on this side. Everything on this other side was normal. It was just on this side I was feeling pain right here. Like from here all the way up here. And this lower area here. It was normal because I didn't feel like there was anything bad. It wasn't like, oh my god, like I'm in so much pain, I feel like I'm cramping. No, it wasn't even that. It was kind of just like, you know, mild pain. And I was like, okay, well, that's strange, but I didn't think much of it. Come to find out, on Monday, I started spotting at like 9:50ish. So I was like, okay, just going to like wait it out and see if it gets worse or if it gets better or what happens. So I check again at like 10:50. I go on ahead and I check, and I'm still spotting. So I panic, and I'm like, okay, that's, you know. So I call my OBGYN very calmly. I'm like, hey, listen, like I'm supposed to have an ultrasound appointment Thursday, and I think I'm spotting, like I think I'm having a miscarriage. And she says, honey, you need to go to the emergency room. Like, you cannot wait this out. You gotta go to the emergency room. They've got to check to make sure that if that is what's happening, that nothing is left behind, and that you have, that everything is carrying normally, to make sure that everything is okay. We also have to have it on record, and also to make sure that it's not an ectopic pregnancy. Is it ectopic? And I was like, what? Like, I'm only 7 weeks. Can't I just stay home and let my body take care of what's happening? Like, my body's taking care of it. Like, my body's doing what it needs to do. Can't I just stay home and, like, you know, let my body carry through the process that it's about to go through? And she says, no, you need to go to the emergency room. Oh my god. I started panicking and I started crying and I was just like freaking out because I was like, what? The emergency room? Like, no one wants to go to the emergency room. No one. And she told me that I had to get like an emergency ultrasound and to just check what's going on. I'm like panicking, y'all. Like, I'm so concerned, and I was just like I was crying. I was like in tears. I was like, what the heck? So I got my brother and Jasmine to come and watch Sebastian. Thank you so much to them, because I know that it was supposed to be their anniversary. It was supposed to be their week off, and I'm sitting here bugging them, but I mean, what can you do? And so I go to the emergency room. They take my urine, they do blood tests, and they do an emergency ultrasound. And the entire time, no one tells me anything, because they're not allowed to for medical reasons and for, you know, just, you know, laws. They can't tell you anything. The only person that can tell you something is the doctor. So I'm just like, okay, like, this is, you know, this is just how it's gonna be. So I sat there through the entire ultrasound. She did a regular ultrasound and a vaginal ultrasound, and I'm just sitting there trying to watch something. And I mean, I should have known that something was up, you know. And you know, they take me back to, I don't know what it's called, but it's those rooms that are back there in the ER where they have you wait, you know, on your own for the doctor to come and see you. And I waited for like a bit, and finally the doctor comes along and he says, so how sure are you about your dates? And I'm like, I'm pretty sure about my dates, because I tracked them and I've literally only had like one period. I'm pretty sure that's the only one I had. I haven't had one in November, and I haven't had one yet in December, so pretty sure that was the right date. And he was like, yeah, because your HCG levels are not matching up with how far along you're supposed to be. And then we didn't see a baby in the vaginal ultrasound, because I think you're supposed to see a baby at like 5 weeks. You're supposed to at least see a little speck, you know, you're supposed to at least see something. And I was just like, oh my god, like, what is going on with my body? And don't get me wrong, I was doubting myself so bad. I was like, was it a positive pregnancy test? Like, during this process, I want to tell you that you doubt yourself so many times, and you start thinking you're crazy, as in, like, did I take a pregnancy test, or was I just dreaming? Did that really happen, or was it, like, not true? And, like, I was going through all these arguments inside of me of, like, am I here for no reason? Like, am I not pregnant? And I'm sitting here, like, lying to these people, telling them I am, but yet I'm not. Like, I was so concerned, and I was just, like, so freaked out. And so I was like, well, did my urine sample, like, what did that say? And they're like, yeah, so your HCG levels are at 2,000, and it's showing that you have a positive pregnancy test, but there's no baby in the ultrasound, and you're far along enough to be able to see something. And I was like, holy cow, like, what are we gonna do? So the doctor says I need to schedule blood tests with my OB the following 2 days, so in like 48 hours, because your HCG levels are supposed to increase double, something like that. It was the longest 2 days, the longest 48 hours. So then I call on Wednesday and they tell me that I need to go in, like, I'm okay to go in at 1:30 to get more blood drawn. So after a devastating Monday and a devastating, like, freaking out Tuesday, and then Wednesday, I'm like, okay, like, today hopefully it'll be good news. Like, this whole time I've just been telling myself it'll be good news, it'll be good news. And then finally I get to the doctor's office, they take more blood, and they're like, yeah, you should have the results in your my charts this afternoon, after 5 or something. And I'm like, okay. So I'm thinking that if my HCG levels are increasing, that's good news. And through this entire process, I want to tell you guys that I'm so naive. Like, I've been the kind of person that's like, this can't happen to me, this can't happen to me. Yet here I am, part of the percentage that it happens to. Basically, I checked them and they've increased. They are now 2,297. And I was like, oh my god, okay. Is this good news or is this bad news? Like, this is good news, right? Like, this has got to be good news. This is good news. So then I just leave it at that. The next day I look at the message that the doctor leaves, because the way that my charts work is they put your results for your blood work and all that. They put the test results on there. and then the following day the doctor can go in and comment on them and leave you a message. So then the doctor had left me a message the following day saying, Miss Ocampo, it looks like your charts have increased, like your HCG levels have increased, but they're not increasing the way that they should for someone that is as far along as you are, which has us concerned that you have an ectopic pregnancy due to nothing showing up in the ultrasound. And I'm like, okay. So I start researching all this stuff, like researching like what is an ectopic pregnancy, what is the treatment, like, hold on, first off, how crazy am I that I searched everything on what is an ectopic pregnancy, what is an ectopic pregnancy, like how do you solve an ectopic pregnancy, and this whole time I'm thinking to myself, this is not happening to me. So I never looked up how to treat one. So I had no idea what the treatment situation was for it, but I knew what it was because I Googled everything on the internet about it, but I failed to research the treatments for it because I was in denial. I was like, this can't happen to me. Like this, I'm not part of that percentage. Like I'm not part of the percentage where stuff happens. But here I am, always the one that gets the garlic clove in the pasta. Always. I'm always the one. So then I'm like, okay, from here now what? And so, you know, they schedule me for Tuesday. Yesterday. This is now like, this all happened last week. We're now into this week. Yesterday. So I'm like all nervous, thinking, okay, like a week has passed, like maybe some good news, maybe like something good, like we've got this. So this appointment, Jeffrey can go to me with me because it's the OB and it's like the ultrasound. So this is now like a week later after I've had the first ultrasound, the emergency ultrasound in the emergency room on Monday. So Jeffrey can go in with me. So I go in, and Jeffrey goes in with me, and the ultrasound technician goes in with the vaginal ultrasound to check everything that's going on. And there's nothing. Like, there's nothing. And I was just thinking, okay, well, I don't think she saw anything in my fallopian tubes, so that's not, I mean, it's not good news, but it's not bad news, because I didn't see anything, you know? So I'm like, okay. So she's like, I'm sorry, you guys, I wish I could give you all good news, but there's nothing there, so there's not really much, you know. And then I could have sworn that she said, the doctor is going to speak to you guys, and I was like, okay, but I think I was like kind of like distressed because I didn't see anything in the ultrasound, that I was like kind of panicky, so what I was listening to wasn't really all there. So I guess I wasn't paying much attention. So I went on ahead to the next room to get my blood drawn because I needed to get more blood work so that they could check the HCG levels again, plus other stuff. And as soon as the phlebotomist got done with my blood drawn, she said, okay, the exit is so-and-so way. So then I was just like, okay, so I'm done. And I was like thinking I was discharged. So I got back to the car, and then Jeffrey was in the car with me. And then I asked him, and I was like, Jeffrey, I could have sworn, like, I heard that I was gonna get the chance to talk to a doctor, like, because I saw the ultrasound tech, the phlebotomist, and like I could have sworn that they said that the doctor was gonna come talk to me. And then Jeffrey was like, yeah, I think that's exactly, like, I think they said that too. And I was just like, I don't know, maybe they're just really busy and they just got caught up in, I don't know, maybe the doctor's like occupied. And so I was like, okay. So I sat in my car because what's happening now is you go up to the door, they check your temperature, they ask you all these questions just to make sure you're not in contact with anyone that has had COVID. And then you have to go to your car, and then they call you on your phone and tell you that they're ready so that you can go in the back. Like, you can't actually sit in the lobby. And so I was like, okay. So I waited like 20 minutes or so for someone to call me because I was thinking if they want me to go back in to talk to the doctor, I'm sure they'll call me. And I waited like 20 minutes or so, and usually it does not take them that long to call. Usually after you go check in, they call you within like the next like 5 minutes or so. It's not even that long. And so I waited and I waited, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna go home because I guess no one's gonna call me to talk to them. So I started driving, and then halfway to not halfway home, but like I'm going like, you know, almost out of town, And then the nurse calls me and she says, hey, are you still in your car? And I'm like, yeah, well, I'm in my car, but I'm not in the parking lot, like I've already left. And she was like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, like this is so on us, like we should have been like more attentive, like. And I was just like, no worries. I was just like, I guess a little confused as to what happened. And so I kind of waited in my car, but I didn't know, so I thought it was like okay for me to go. And the phlebotomist made, told me that it was like okay for me to go. So I thought it was like all good. And she was like, no, and this is where I should have known that something was up. She said, yeah, no, we would much rather you talk to the doctor so that the doctor can talk to you about your options. So that the doctor can talk to you about your options. I didn't hear that. It just went right on through. I don't know how come it didn't stay in my head. So that the doctor can talk to you about your options. I should have known then that something was up. And I didn't. I was just like all happy, and I was just like, okay, like let me go back and talk to the doctor. For some reason I was so naive, thinking that they were just gonna ask me questions about how I was feeling, about how we were gonna handle going to the next ultrasound if no baby was in the next ultrasound, or what was gonna happen in my next appointment. Like that's what I was thinking in my mind was gonna be what we talk about. But then I go in there and I'm thinking to myself, okay, so I drive back. I'm not even thinking that I'm getting bad news, and I'm listening to like all these sounds. Like I could hear the lady in the room next to me, and I think she was having a checkup, and it was like, kind of cute. You'd hear the baby's heartbeat, and the walls are so thin, and it was just so adorable. I was like kind of happy. I was like in the zone. I was like, this is so cute, all in the feels of like really excited. Okay, and then it comes time for my visit, and the doctor goes in and then it's talking to me, and she's like, hey, so this is what's going on. We have a strong feeling that what you have going on is an ectopic pregnancy, because as far along as you are, there should be a baby there, and there is no baby. And then we see this in your fallopian tube, your left, but like she knew which tube it was and everything. She was like, your left fallopian tube, and I was like, dear God. And so she's like, yeah, so if your body's gonna naturally miscarry, what happens is these next HCG levels should go down. So they need to go down from 2,200 to less. And then that means that your body's naturally taking care of what should not be there, and it's miscarrying. And I'm sitting here thinking to myself, like, okay, okay. And then she says, if that's not the case, that means you have an ectopic pregnancy, and these are the choices that you have. You can either A, operating room, and they can try to go in there and remove the tissue, and I can risk losing my left fallopian tube. Did y'all hear that? I can risk losing my left fallopian tube. I understand that people get it removed, people get them taken out because they don't have children, but it's, it's your choice. It's your choice to do it. I feel like in my situation, I don't have a choice. Like, I have to do it in order for my health. So I just break down crying. Like, I'm just like, she's like talking away, and she's just like going and going, and they're doctors, so they do this all the time, and they can explain it without even taking a breath, because that's what they do all day. So then I'm just like, and she's talking, and I'm just like, hold on, wait a minute. So then I just sit there, and I'm just like, and you have a mask on, so I'm just like, this mask is about to collect all of my tears. So I just sit there, and I'm just like, I'm literally about to lose like a fallopian tube. Like, this is so like excruciating for me to feel. Like, when you make decisions on your body and what's happening to your body, you're just like, it just scares you, And then she says your other option is that you could get a medotrachea shot. I will put the link to like a link to a description of what it is. But it's basically like a shot that has like a small dosage of like chemotherapy that will go in there and destroy all of the cells that are trying to grow, and will destroy those. If my body rejects it or doesn't take care of it the first time, then I will get a second shot and get a second dosage. If that fails, then I have to get the operation anyways. I am devastated at this point, and I'm just crying, and you guys probably think like, oh my god, like why isn't she crying like right now, like that she's telling a story. Y'all, I've cried so much, and it's taken me so long to be composed like this. Like my nose is stuffy, and there's nothing in there, it's just stuffy because I've been crying so much. Like my eyes hurt, they were bloodshot red just yesterday. Like I was like devastated. I was just like, oh my god. And then the doctor's like, okay, well you need to, you know, make a decision. In seeing that you're a healthy person, and you know most people in this situation would want to keep their fallopian tubes, like both of them, because I want to keep my fallopian tubes. I don't want the chances of me to have a baby decrease like that. Just to me, that's just devastating. And so like I tell her, okay, she's telling me that I need to make a decision like then and now. Like she's literally told me all this stuff, and I'm like, oh my god, like what am I supposed to do? Like I need to go home, like power under the blankets and like cry about this, because like I'm like, you know, freaking out. And I didn't understand the severity of it until she said that what happens is that if you wait too long, it continues to grow, because it's kind of like your body is, you know, pregnant and it's still trying to grow like a pregnancy. But what happens is that your tubes can't hold that. So when it keeps growing, your tubes might burst, and then you bleed out inside, I'm assuming, I guess, and that's when it becomes harmful to my health. So that's why it was like urgent for us to take care of it early. So she's like trying to get me to go ahead and sign the disclosures and like the paperwork so that I can go ahead and agree to it. And I'm like, I need to think about this. Like I can't make a decision right now, like literally 15 minutes after hearing what's happening. And that's why I'm telling you guys, I literally searched up everything on ectopic pregnancy except for the treatment on it, because I was in denial, thinking that this could not happen to me. So then after I went home, she was like, I'm gonna let you go home, Google all this that I've told you so that you know what's happening, and then that way you can make a decision, because I had half a mind of just losing my left fallopian tube. And I feel like that's why I was crying so hard, because I was like, I'm gonna lose my fallopian tube and I'm not gonna be able to have babies. Like I was so devastated. I was like, and then the other shot is that they're gonna put like a small dosage of chemotherapy in me. Like how do I know that that's not going to affect me long term? So like having something like this where it's going